Alright, so let's dive right into the topic today, which is dealing with nerves when you are shooting. So this is one of the most common things that I've heard talked about and asked about in shooting circles really ever since I started. I think it's something that every shooter eventually is going to have to learn how to deal with, or at least most shooters, is getting nervous whenever you start competing for championships and you're shooting and you have a chance to break really high scores and you have to close them out. So I feel like this is a very important topic because it really covers a large part of the mental game, and it really goes back to your mental game and understanding your own personality in terms of how to deal with the nerves. So let's jump right in here. And the first thing I'm going to talk about nerves is understanding what your goals are. So for example, whenever I first started shooting and I was blessed enough to start competing for a few championships and being in HOAs and stuff towards the end of the tournament, you know, it was a little bit, the first time I remember it was a little bit of an interesting kind of unique scenario that I wasn't completely comfortable in. But then as I got a little bit older and experienced those situations more, I understand that a major factor of not being nervous and being completely calm in those situations is to understand what my goal is. So if my goal is I gotta win this trophy, so let's say I'm at the Arkansas State Shoot because, you know, you guys know that's one of my favorite tournaments. Let's say that my goal going there was to win the HOA. Well, if it comes down to the last bit of the tournament, so my primary goal is to win that HOA, I'm absolutely focused on that, and me and another guy are dead tie going into the last day for that HOA, then I'm probably going to be a little bit nervous. I'm probably not going to be completely comfortable out there. But if my goal, this is whenever I started becoming more comfortable in these situations, is I changed my primary goal from winning the tournament, winning whatever title, whatever trophy that was, to focusing on being the best that I could be that day and really just learning and growing. So this is a huge shift going from I have to win this trophy to focusing on learning, focusing on being a better shooter, because ultimately, you know, win or lose, I'm still going to come back and I'm still going to shoot because I love the game, so it really doesn't matter as much to me if I win or lose. I mean, don't get me wrong, I want to win, but, you know, my life doesn't hinge upon it. And I think that can be a lot of times what nerves come from is you can get into that mindset, I know I did early on, where you're really focused on winning this trophy so you're not completely comfortable, which can make you nervous. Whereas if you're just focusing, going out there, working as hard as you can work and executing your own game plan, just kind of being yourself and trying to grow as a shooter, you're probably going to shoot a lot better, and you're also not going to have the nerves because there's really no reason to be nervous. You're just going out there and shooting, right? I mean, that's like the best place you could be in. The second reason that nerves can come in is simply inexperience. And this is, I think, probably the most common one, is you get into a certain situation and you really just, you don't know how to handle it, right? You know, we all get into situations of our life and it can be a little bit interesting in terms of how you handle it, and you kind of have to learn, right? You know, your first test in school, maybe your first test in college, isn't as easy as maybe your 10th test. So, you know, experience breeds comfort. And understanding that whenever you're first in those first few moments where you're competing for championships or you're trying to finish out a big score, you know, you're not going to be completely understanding everything that may be going on. So moving that goal from being I have to finish this or I have to, you know, win this trophy, to really just focusing on learning and growing and developing yourself as a shooter and just really focusing on being the best you can be, that kind of ties into it. And really just look at the guys that have been there, done that. Pick their brain, say what's going through your mind in these moments, you know, how are you handling this, like, you know, and kind of try to learn from them, learn from their experiences of what they did well and what they did bad as well, so hopefully you can avoid their mistakes and also have the benefit of learning from their successes. The third main reason that I think that nerves can come into play is also a lack of confidence. Now, this mainly, I believe, is caused by a lack of consistency. So if, let's say for some reason you're in a singles championship and you break the 200 straight, and you just had a really good day, but maybe you have never even broke 100 straight before, so you had a little bit of what many may term as a bit of an out-of-the-body experience. And so you're not completely confident in your ability going into that championship shoot-off with maybe another really good shooter because you haven't had the consistency. So consistency really can breed confidence, and it's another reason why I say consistently executing the fundamentals is key to being a great shooter, because if you're consistently executing your fundamentals, you're going to be consistently breaking good scores, which is going to breed confidence, and it's kind of a snowball effect, and it helps to build momentum. But what do you do whenever you kind of had that first experience, that first big score, and you're a little bit nervous going into the shoot-off? Well, the first thing you do is you remind yourself exactly what you did to get there. So you say, okay, what made me have a good day today? What did I do well today that I really feel like I need to continue doing? So you make a mental note, make a physical note, write it down, whatever you have to do there. Keep that in your memory and continue to do that. Remind yourself of those things in the shoot-off. The second thing that you need to do is to say, even though I may have ran at 200 straight, more than likely, unless I had one of the best rounds in the history of trap shooting, I probably made a little bit of a mistake and got away with it. What was that mistake so that I can know to avoid it? And you're doing all this right before the shoot-off so that you can know, hey, this is my key points. That's what you're trying to establish, is those key points from the day, that if I keep doing these things well, I'm going to be successful in the shoot-off just like I was all day. And if I don't do this mistake, so even though I may have got away with it earlier, I'm probably not going to get away with it again. So I need to avoid this mistake, maybe these 2 mistakes, these 3 mistakes, whatever your number is, because sometimes you're going to make a mistake and you're still going to break the target. It does happen every now and then, and sometimes you're going to do everything perfect and you're still going to miss for whatever reason. So it's just kind of the sport that we play, that's going to happen every now and then. So I think if you focus on these 3 things, setting your goals correctly, trying to learn from people that have been there and done that whenever you haven't been there and done that, and then also the third thing is trying to understand what you did well if you had an out-of-the-body experience. I look back on some of the times early on, and I wish I would have done a better job of this whenever I started shooting, is understanding, hey, I broke a great score today. Maybe it was a little bit of an out-of-the-body experience. What could I have learned from that so that I can translate that to more and more consistency? Because consistency, it's king. I mean, we look at the great shooters. We don't admire them for their ability to break 1 really good score or 2 really good scores. We admire them for their ability to break several very high scores, several 99s, several 100s, several 98s. Just to string those big scores in a row in all 3 disciplines. So I hope this video helps. This is definitely an important topic, I feel like, is learning how to deal with nerves. I think these 3 things can help you. If you are dealing with a little bit of nerves when you're closing out scores, it's totally normal to deal with nerves, but you do have to learn how to deal with them in order to advance and progress as a shooter. I think this is probably something that most, probably 99% of shooters, maybe 100% of shooters have to learn how to deal with at some point. So thank you guys so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. You can subscribe to my channel here. I'd appreciate if you did that. You can check out a couple of new videos here. We'll see you guys next time.